Hello everyone, welcome to this webinar and thank you for taking time to listen. I'm Jen Marland, I lead the myFuture programme for BP and I'm joined by Sarah Bryn-Johnson and Gemma Rice. Sarah is also part of the team. Sarah, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi everybody, Sarah Bryn-Johnson. As Jen said, I'm part of the dedicated myFuture project team.
Thanks, Sarah. So this team was pulled together last year to develop an enhanced leaving offer in time for the start of Reinvent BP. And a really key component of the offer is outplacement support. We've been partnering globally with Lee Hecht Harrison, or LHH, to support you with their excellent outplacement service. We've been partnering with them since the beginning of the project and working with their teams globally to support our leavers across BP. Most countries are supported by LHH. Please check your country leaver communication to confirm that. Gemma's joining us today to give us an introduction to LHH and their service. Gemma, thank you for joining us. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Perfect, thank you, Jen. Hi everybody, my name's Gemma Rice and I'm really looking forward to talking through the outplacement service that we provide BP today.
Thanks so much, Gemma. So before we dive into that detail, we do just want to take a moment to acknowledge at the beginning of this webinar today that we recognise it is a really difficult time for all of you listening. And some of you may have decided this is the right time for you to choose to leave BP. And for many, you're not leaving BP through your own choice. We are conscious many may be feeling very unsettled by this prospect. And BP feel that it is really important to do the right thing to support you. And we've gone above and beyond the support normally provided in order to give you the best possible chance to succeed in a future outside of BP. So having worked alongside LHH and heard the excellent feedback directly from many of the leavers who have already started and some of them even completed their programs, we are really confident that they have the resources, the expertise to support you. So let me hand over to Gemma now to take you through that. And before I do, just to mention, we're going to turn our cameras off now for the rest of the session so that you can really focus on the content. Thank you, Gemma.
Thanks, Sarah. So our purpose today, as I mentioned, is really to introduce you to LHH and get you to understand what the outplacement programme or support looks like for BP wherever you are in the world. So just the points here. First of all, it's really important to think about why you're here, so your journey, and I'll help you think about that and how LHH can really support you. Next is around LHH, Lee Hecht Harrison, who are we? A bit of an explanation of the outplacement programme, introduction to some of the services to give you a feel for what you might interact with, and then also how to get started. So I think the first point to mention here is around the fact that we understand, as Sarah mentioned, that you're leaving BP, and for many of you that will be a really hard decision and a hard step to make. What I would like to show or to say to you is that LHH really cares, and that by you using our outplacement support, you have a team of people ready to care about you and help you in your transition. All change is completely personal, and by now you may have felt some of these feelings about the change that you're going on. What I really want to say is that wherever you are on this curve, on this change curve, LHH is there to support you. And what we really would love to do is to get you confident about those new beginnings. And the whole way through your process of partnering with us, we'll be able to support with however you feel on a daily, weekly or monthly basis. So who is LHH? And this is really the only slide I'll talk about specifically us. I think it's really important just to mention who we are, purely because we've been partnering with BP for many years and we're a trusted partner of BP's. We support over 500,000 people around the globe each year with some sort of transition, and we have over 400 offices, but we are supporting your colleagues wherever you are in the world with outplacement services. Just a few statistics here that I think are really useful to know as you embark on this transition. That 8 out of 10 jobs are never advertised and are filled via networking. This is an important point just to show that when you start partnering with LHH, we can support you with networking. What does that mean and what does that look like for you to really help you transition into that next role? 90% of our candidates negotiate equal or better positions. Just by having a coach and a team of people around you, accessing workshops, etc., we can really help you negotiate those better positions, what's going to make you happier in your future. Almost all hiring managers use LinkedIn to find talent. And the important thing here is that it doesn't matter how good your LinkedIn profile is now, LHH can support you to ensure that you feel confident with your LinkedIn profile and how that looks to the outside world and to those hiring managers. And job seekers land positions 65% faster with the help of LHH. This just really says that with a team around you, somebody to listen, somebody to help and give you practical and emotional support, we will support you to land those positions faster. So what is career transition? Some of you may have experienced outplacement or career transition support before, and some of you may have never heard of it before. So it's much more than just finding a similar job. The benefits of being supported by an outplacement partner are the things like getting your CV sorted for you, helping you with interviews, but really being able to speed up the process for you of finding that next role if that's what you'd like. The competitive advantage against other candidates in the market, us really being able to put you forward. Practical and emotional support. So looking back at that change curve and thinking on those days when you do need somebody to talk to, LHH can be here, but also on the days when you just need some practical advice on what to do next. How do you get confident with a virtual interview? How do you get your CV done? They're the practical bits that we can help with. Of course, everything is completely objective and confidential with us. So everything that you talk about with your coach, with the people at LHH that you're partnering with, are completely confidential and nothing goes back to BP. First, it's also great to be able to support you with self-confidence and resilience to keep you going. On those times, on those days when things are getting tough, how can we support you to feel resilient and strong in order to move on to the next part of your job search? So what will it feel like? If you haven't attended or been through an outplacement service before, it will feel like these 3 things. So what we will ask you to do is look back. Where have you been? Looking at personal review of your career and your life so far, and the identification of needs. So what have you wanted and needed in your past? Then looking to the future. So where do you want to go? You and your future, and being able to really understand what that could look like. But then also importantly, looking at the reality of how to get there. How can you actually make that happen? And what are those practical steps to get you there in the time that you need? So as I mentioned there, here's around a personal journey. Everything that LHH does for you will be different to another candidate or another colleague of yours, because we've all had very different career moments to date. So you're currently at the time when you're transitioning. What we will help you to do is be more aware of what you might need in the future. And as you can see from the hexagons there, there are lots of options and opportunities to be able to be supported by experts if you want to do something different. So looking at that similar job may be an option. However, actually, if there's something that you'd really love to do that's a bit different, then we have a team of experts to be able to help you. If you'd like to move the self-employment entrepreneurism route, then absolutely perfect. Retraining in education. If you'd like to think about retiring but not quite there yet, we have resources to be able to support you, and looking into portfolio careers. What we then will look to do is support you in finding that next role, finding that next move as fast as you'd like, and then be able to support you with managing those transition. So actually helping you with your first 90 days in your new role and giving you access to resources to make you as successful as possible transitioning into a new role. The service is completely flexible and blended to support you. So there is one-to-one coaching. However, live learning events are happening all of the time with over 40 topics, including things like CV, interview, mindfulness, procrastination. There's self-paced learning if that's how you prefer to learn as well. Something recorded that you just like to listen to and watch when the time is right for you. Virtual networking with other candidates in order to support that networking piece for you, and then being able to access our career portal where all of these resources are housed for you. Online resources at your fingertips. Wherever you are in the world, you will have access to the CRN, which is our online portal, which gives you connections to jobs, to the local marketplace. Your CV, being able to support from scratch. If you don't have a CV, we can support you to write one, all the way through to having that looked at by a CV specialist. Live workshops for you to attend, but also recorded webinars and workshops if that's how you prefer to learn. An interview simulator to be able to support you to be as successful as possible in those interviews. And then LinkedIn Learning to be able to help with any skills gaps that you may need to look at in order to move into another role. So an awfully big part of our service is all about learning, developing, networking, really helping you be better and more confident into the world that you're moving into. So parts of that is looking at your job search, the CV fundamentals, successful interviewing, vocal confidence, and then video and telephone interviews. But a really big part, and I know that this is really important to BP as well, is supporting and maintaining your well-being. I know that with BP Access, you do have access to your EAP service and you do have access to Headspace, but with LHH, you also have access to personal resilience support, workshops on managing energy, sleep and stress, and then lots of different types of mindfulness practice to help you feel strong and resilient. If you're looking into self-employment, and again, I know this is something that the myFuture portal supports with, however, the self-employment part is really being able to rethink, well, could that work for you? Could you start your own business? Could that dream of your own business actually work? And what does it look like for consulting, contracting, freelancing? What happens next and how do you get into those things? Then being able to support with social media for entrepreneurs. And finally, alternative careers. So if you're thinking about, well, actually, I'd like to do something completely different, but you're not quite sure, then we have workshops and resources supporting, helping you to make those alternative career decisions. Career decisions is one of our workshops, personal values, and then managing that later life. So if retirement is something that you're interested in. Finally, how do you get started? So you are eligible to begin LHH services upon receiving notification from BP and up to 60 days before your exit. The LHH engagement team will reach out to you once we receive authorization from BP. And to get started, an engager will reach out to you to book you onto an LHH-led orientation or onboarding session to help you navigate your program. This is when your program's clock starts ticking. After attending the LHH onboarding session, you'll then assign to a coach who will then organise time to book you in for your first one-to-one meeting. The details about your specific programme offering will be available in your leaver communication and within People at BP. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope this has really given you an insight into how LHH can support you through your transition.
Thank you so much, Gemma. Really appreciate that for that informative overview. So as we said at the beginning, we know that this is a really challenging time and we are doing all we possibly can to support you. So we hope that the myFuture programme and the comprehensive LHH offer will be of helpful to you. So thank you so much for taking time to listen to this today, and take care, everybody.
Thank you.